You're listening to Nothing's Off the Table, the podcast where no subject is too taboo to discuss. Now, please welcome your hosts, Andy Barker and Drew Del Pree. Man, I had a huge coughing fit there for a second.
Oh, man. I wonder where that came from.
I don't know. Corona and avian flu virus.
Hey, can you hear that bastard, the ice cream man, in the background?
I can't hear shit.
So in the background outside, the ice cream truck just pulled up. I live right across the street from a park, and I can hear that son of a gun, which means I'm sure my kid can hear it, which means I'll be being asked for money here in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Well, you know, it happens. Go see your mother, kid. There's always that. So, you know, we didn't do a show last week.
No, we missed.
We had something going on. I don't remember what it was. Doesn't matter. It's in the past. And this is going to be our last show for a couple of weeks because, well, we'll say why.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah, we're heading over to Wounded Warrior Umpire camp, aren't we?
Yes, absolutely. In Carlisle, Pennsylvania. It's cool because this is our 10-year anniversary.
Nice for the camp.
Yes, it's very special. It's going to be a very special occasion. We've got some nice things planned to commemorate the event. Got some swag out there, which will be cool. Yeah. So with that being said, I have a couple of episodes that we pre-recorded.
We did
for you, and those will drop next week and the following week as well. And then we'll be back. Well, we'll be back at the end of the month.
We will.
So we'll have some. We'll get back to having guests. Get some folks that are lined up already that are willing to come on the show. And
we do have a couple. I'm pretty excited. I was able to get one of the local DJs here in the Pittsburgh market. Who's been around for a while, and I talked to him. He's willing to come on. We just need to schedule him for a date, and we're going to talk about the technology and how the scene has evolved over the last 40 years.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes, yeah. So we're going to reach way back with my buddy Ed, who's going to come on and talk to us about the DJ scene. He's been around this area for decades into the music industry. And then Andy, I know you've got a couple people lined up.
Most definitely. You say 40 years, and it sounds like it is a long time, but that was in the 80s.
Yes.
Isn't that's that crazy? That's when I grew up. I was an 80s kid.
Yes.
So when you say 40 years, I automatically think back to the 40s, 1940s.
Yeah.
And then I have to recalibrate my thinking.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's crazy how quickly time flies. How the technology changes, how things evolve, right? I mean, look at warfare. When I first went into with the Marines, right, we were digging trenches like World War II, right. Digging fighting holes. Yep. You were learning about grenades. You talk to a Marine now, like, do you know what a grenade sump is? He have no idea, right? But he does know how to work the radio because everybody's got a radio now.
Right. It's funny you say that because I was just telling somebody the other day, as a matter of fact, my first platoon, we were right after Desert Storm. Everybody got out, right? So all 4 branches at the time were hurting for personnel because people just left, mass exodus. So we were short-handed, and they made me the RTO. And back then it was that old piece of shit prick 77, that Vietnam era heavy as crap freaking radio. And not only was radio heavy, but the freaking batteries, man. The batteries are like this, they were little bricks, and
they were the bottom half of the radio.
Yeah. And you had to, man. So not only did I not know what I was doing, but I had to carry all that shit around. But it ended up being great because it was a crash course on, communications.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember sitting in the comm shop one day waiting for somebody to get their signature for a check-in or something. And I was watching them like deadline radios, and I was like, "Hey, man, I see what you're doing, but why don't you try a different handset?" It was the handset that was broken.
It's always the handset.
All 5 of the radios worked.
What a piece!
But they had them labeled, like taped, like F.
Well, you probably screwed up some scam they had going.
I don't know. Sometimes it does take the outside eye, man. You get so laser focused on what you're doing, and the
True.
pressure's on. You get somebody walking by going, "Hey, why don't you just turn that over, jackass?" And you're like, "Oh yeah."
So we got Tyler. Tyler says the Discord bot works. I don't know what that means. Maybe you do. I don't.
It means it works.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
I'll say thanks. I know the Discord. So we talk about the Discord. We've talked about that a lot before. Let's bring it up one more time. So we've now linked into the Mill Sim on the Discord for 1 MRR Raider Battalion. So First Marine Regiment on the game Arma Reforger. Brought that up before.
Yes.
There's Arma 3, Arma 1, 2. I never heard of any of that. And then there's Arma Reforger, which apparently people create these modifications for, and they add them to the game. So the game is an 80s base, which is still pretty cool to play in itself. It's fun to throw on the old 80s deuce gear, like the stuff you and I were issued back in the day. You get your little compass out and you got to figure out where you're going and find the objectives. There's really no map or ping, but some people have made modifications that allow you to act in a more modern manner using modern vehicles. The physics are phenomenal, amazing. They call it I think I've heard 1-to-1 game, um, where the aspects all 1-to-1 and natural. You take casualties, they don't just get up. You have to go over and kind of look at them, apply a bandage, do it kind of in order. And there's even modifications that get into the weeds on that, Andy. They were going over the other day where you can evac them to the back and do supportive care
Wow.
before they get up, right? Yeah, I mean it really gets into the weeds. But a group of vets got together and they've created some of these servers, and the one that I've joined is again the 1 MRR First Raider Battalion. If you type in the search box Raider or MRR Raider,
Well, as a
you'll
matter of
see
fact, we had the creator or one of the
did
creators
one
on,
of the server owners.
yeah, not too long ago. So, Poon, if you're listening, what up,
What's up?
crazy bastard?
Right, and we
Fuck.
did talk to him. We will have him back on too as well. And another one of and he's getting together another one of his friends in sort of the coalition of servers, so we have two different people with two different servers running to kind of talk to. Now this Armory Forges, this is crazy. I play mainly on the one server. But they have Halo mods. Like you can get out there and run around dressed like the Halo chief and the aliens, and the weapons look like the aliens and the UNSC, and
Punisher.
yeah, there's all different kinds of
Well,
modifications they do in there. That
Tyler's Tyler is Punisher.
there you go.
As a
That's yeah. That he's the other one that's going to come on. Yeah,
nice,
Tyler will be with it.
nice.
And throw our number up, Andy, for people to call.
God, man, you're slow as fuck. It's been up.
Oh yeah, well there you go. Anyway, I am. I am. But the Mill Sim world is very interesting. I had never heard of it before up until last year, right around December time, I think is when I started. And there's just some really interesting people there. I mean, some people that want to see what the military experience is, but for whatever reason, it prevented that calling in life for their life. And then also there's vets on there, just having fun and enjoying the camaraderie as well. And a group of people are trying to build a larger community where veterans and civilians can come and mix and mingle.
I
Um,
will say it is a cool game, but I'm not a gamer, man. I tried it. I am
yeah,
not good at those games at all, and I get way more frustrated than I get any enjoyment out of it. And that's when I can get to the damn Xbox,
right, right.
because now not only is my son, taking it over, but now my daughter has found out that she likes playing Fortnite on it.
Oh
So
yeah.
forget about it, man. I can't get to that thing even if I wanted to.
Did you ever see that Elizabeth Warren video? You have to go back and now that you know what Fortnite is, you have to go back and watch the Elizabeth Warren live video with Fortnite.
Oh God.
It
Okay.
was the one where she's like, "I'm just gonna go ahead and have me a beer." Does that ring a bell?
No.
Oh, she did a campaign video. It's very awkward where she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna get a beer," and then she's like, "Oh, look, it's Fortnite. Fortnite is saying, like she was like trying to read the text. She had
Was
no idea that was a game, and it had nothing to do with what was going on. But you have to go back and watch it. You'll die laughing now that you know what Fortnite is.
Did she get a beer from the corn and the wheat that her people grew?
No, no, no. She went to the fridge.
Hi, Elizabeth, if you're watching, which I know you're not, you
right?
communist cunt.
I forget who
Whoa!
there was a yeah, there was a see you next Tuesday. There was a famous talk show host. I forget who did a 23 and Me and was like, I'm more Native American. You know, it's like I have 27%. He's at 23. Or
Wow.
like 0.23 or something, you know.
Wow. Speaking of communists, so Trump was found guilty.
He was. He was. Anybody surprised? I mean,
No.
was anyone surprised? I mean, we knew that all they wanted was the ability to say he's a convicted felon, and you saw it all over social media today. Hey, make sure whenever you refer to him, you say convicted felon every time. Every time. Oberman posted it. Whole bunch of other people posted it. So that was all this was about, was making sure the campaign can run ads saying, "Is that what you want to do? You want to vote for a convicted felon?"
It really is a sad day,
Yeah.
because as you well know, we've had many discussions, and I was not really a Trump guy at all. This has way pushed me over the edge, because and I actually watched his speech today, and like he said, it's bigger than him,
Yes.
it's bigger than his presidency. This is about the Constitution and our nation, and how the Constitution was just completely shit all over.
Well,
Um,
Megyn Kelly was on talking about yesterday, like get in charge and take every one of these people out legally. Every one of
yeah,
them. Every
yeah,
one of them. So now you have Megyn Kelly on the radio saying, get every one of them. Get in power and go legally. She said legally. Go after every one of them. And so that's where we are now. We're polarized again.
once again,
Nobody's
wait,
talking about nobody is talking about the pandemic response and holding the people accountable like we should be. Right? We're all on this Trump train that we knew was gonna end in a conviction. I
mhm,
mean, it doesn't affect how I'm voting, right? Because regardless of who the candidate is, I am not voting for Joe Biden, you know?
right. Well,
I mean, that is not happening.
I
So,
I was actually going to abstain from
oh,
voting,
I wasn't gonna do that
but
because
but
I'll
now, hell no.
yeah, I'll tell you right now, I really have changed my attitude on that whole I just want to be left alone. When good people fail to seize the levers of power, this is what happens. All the good people that just stayed home and wanted to be left alone. Well, the people who didn't, the people who wanted to push their agenda seized the levers of power. So we can't sit at home anymore and say we want to be left alone because A, they're not going to leave us alone. And B, it is our duty as good people to go seize the levers of power through the lawful manner means available.
Now, I will say this: if Biden wins again by the same margin that he did last time,
It's 81
then
million votes, man.
you can't tell me that that was legit.
No.
All the people that are, I mean, all you gotta do is get on YouTube, man, and all the videos I see of all these people saying that they're no longer voting for Biden, they're voting for Trump. The African American community, especially, man, the Hispanic community, and the Democrats, they're just, I don't know what the hell,
Well,
man.
think about it. Here's something I thought about, right? In sort of the and I just throw this out there as food for thought, right? Here's food for thought. Um, One of the classic ploys of liberal DAs, right? And in the manner of they're all in on, right? Like it's a billionaires club, and they give each other shit. They have arguments, they have fights, but they also have a different set of rules than we do, right?
Right.
Um, So DAs frequently overcharge police. Frequently. They do it on purpose because if they overcharge one, they can throw out all. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So it allows the DA to virtue signal to the community, no, look, I charged him with everything. Right? Everything. This was evident in the case of the I forget it, the gentleman who died on a rough ride in Maryland. You may not remember.
George Floyd?
Wasn't George Floyd. This guy was taken on a rough ride. They
Oh,
shat
and they broke his neck.
something like that, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they
yeah.
fucked him up, right? Pardon my language. And they overcharged the cops and they got off, right? On a technicality because they overcharged. But the speculation at the time was that that was on purpose so that they could get off because this happens a lot. and they don't want, certain things you don't want to prosecute because then no one will take the job. right? Does that make sense? Like that's why a lot of
Yeah,
guards in
definitely.
prisons don't get prosecuted for certain things, or counties settle. They don't even let it go to court. They just settle. And you're like, why would you do that? Well, because no one will work here if we just let them get the crap suit out of them every 2 seconds, right?
Right.
So the judges know this. Everybody knows this, right? Everybody's in on it. I can tell you from the jail system, everybody's in on it. Because again, and you have to understand, no one will work in jail,
Right.
and you need those people, right? So, as right or wrong as it may be, and no one will ever admit it, I'm telling you right now, I've been in the rooms, I've heard the conversation, they're all in on it, okay? It has to be egregious. And if it's egregious, then they absolutely will pin that guard to the wall and they will shit down his neck, okay? I've seen them bust guards for dealing drugs and stuff. But when it's questionable, when it's like, I'm not too sure if that was defense or force or whatever, yeah, they're not going to go against the guard because they need people to come and work in these places, right? So just throwing that out there, just saying that. So I think about Trump, right? Egregious trial with all kinds of crazy things that even liberal lawyers on CNN were saying this is wild, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You've got Bill Maher saying
Okay.
it's a sham.
So imagine we're all in on it, right? We're all in the club, right? Trump's pissing people off, but he's still in the club. Okay. So I'm going to take him out of the race, but I'm going to make sure it's so ridiculous he's not taken out. Because this will be reversed on appeal and it'll be like nothing ever happened except he couldn't campaign. So
I
yeah,
will
I
tell
agree
you
it's
what,
election interference and stuff, but what I'm saying is you know if you look at it from a lens of why would it so outlandishly be like this, well, it almost guarantees Trump gets out and he's not permanently hurt. He just can't campaign and he gets to hang out back in the club again.
I could sign off on that.
I'm not.
The only
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
is that I just don't have faith right now, man. I don't have faith it's gonna get overturned. If it's so egregious and so blatant right now, you know,
Well, a
who's
state
to say
well, a state judge can't adjudicate federal crimes.
well, yeah, and the whole case should have never brought forth in the first place. So,
Agreed. And the instructions, yeah, and then the Fifth Amendment that the Supreme Court has already ruled twice on this. I was watching the analysis. There has to be unanimity in a jury. There can't be four, and four. That doesn't exist. There has to be unanimity in a jury, or it violates your Fifth Amendment, a jury trial. So that's going to get taught. I mean, so again, that's why I say it's so egregious.
mhm.
It guarantees now. All I'm saying, I'm not saying I believe this, but what I'm saying is if when I go to the great reward and all things are supposed to be revealed, and that's one of them, I wouldn't be like, oh, like just like Andy,
Sure.
if I opened up the New York Times and saw, your picture of your house and you coming out in cuffs with, man with basement of horrors, I wouldn't be like, didn't see that. Like, some things are just obvious.
Right. You know, for the record, uh, I just want to put it out there that I would be just as upset and concerned if it was Joe Biden being on trial right now and the roles were reversed. And, same thing. Trump was going after him politically. And there weren't any charges, but it was, drummed up. I would be just as upset and pissed off as I am
Yeah.
with the whole Trump thing because it's like Trump said, it's bigger than the
Yeah.
individual.
Hunter Biden's about to go to trial in Maryland for gun charges, right? And they're trying to get those dismissed.
Of
You
course.
sit there and say, like, if the shoe were on the other, well, the shoe was on the other foot, and they tried to cut him a sweetheart deal
Mhm.
for a gun violation. Hey, all you guys doing time for gun charges? How you feel about that one?
Right, right.
How'd you feel about
But
that?
but, the instructions to the jury from the judge, what the hell
Yeah, that's what I
is
say. No
that?
unanimity. They can't even
Well
identify the crime. They didn't agree on the crime.
you don't
That's the other thing
have
they're
he
saying too is that was kind of how the verdict came out. I haven't read it. And look, I'm not going to read it. I'm going to be
yeah,
100% honest with you.
I'm not
I'm just
either.
going to watch the talking heads and steal their opinions because I don't give a shit. I don't have the time to look into that. I'm
Right.
learning about ancient aliens.
That's right.
Time for that
Well,
crap, man.
y yeah, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really affect us.
Yes, they're going to do. Yeah, yes. So at the end of the day, right when the next pandemic comes, you're going to get in line and you're going to get your shot like everyone else.
I'm not. I didn't get the first one. Fuck that.
Isn't that crazy? We've all forgotten that. There's a new special coming out right now on the Blaze. They're putting it on YouTube. Matt Keeby, the libertarian,
Hmm.
Matt Keeby. They have uncovered so much stuff on this virus and cover-ups and emails and all kinds of things. And apparently, in this special couple part series that Matt Keeby has done, they have uncovered clear evidence that they were weaponizing these COVID viruses, lying about it. But and the evidence they uncovered was they forgot to wipe documents on Time Machine.
Whoops.
So he just used regular Google Time Machine and pulled up everything. Apparently, he has it all, like lays it all out. So
Hmm.
I'd look for, you know what? I don't have the title.
What up,
Um, I'll
Bear?
I'll try to get the title, but you got to look for a Matt Keeby documentary on YouTube. Also, Highway 91. You got to look at Highway 91. That's the new documentary on. Here's
Hmm.
another thing we've forgotten about, right? As we look to the Trump 34 indictments, which is ridiculous. It's one thing, right, that they broke up 12 times, but then said there's 12 receipts for and 10 invoices. That's how they got to 34. Just so you know, one crime that they said was billed 12 times over a period of year. So that's 12, right? For each one, it was a crime for each bill, even though it was 130,000 broken up into 12 payments. Each payment's a crime.
What
And
up,
then
Tony?
each time they entered it as a crime. So that's 24. Okay. And then 10 times Michael Avenatti sent over an invoice. Oh, that's 10 more crimes. So that's how they got to 34. Just see, that right there. that that right there. It's like Terrence Howard. We need to audit the number one. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we do.
I agree with you to the point that it's so egregious.
Yeah.
But and yeah, it should be overturned in a blink of an eye. But I just don't have faith in the
Well,
system anymore.
I agree. I don't know if it will or not. I mean, but again, going back to what if we what else have we forgotten about? Highway 91. How about the Vegas shooter? Worst. As I heard the documentarian say, and I quote her words, not mine. Worst government sponsored shooting in American history. Worst. What she said was she said one of the top 3 government sponsored shootings in American history. The interviewer said, what were the other 2? She said Wounded Knee and Waco. I was like, oh wow, this lady's on point.
Well, let's not
Anyway,
forget about Ruby Ridge.
yeah, but well, that was only like 3 or 4 people that died.
Yeah.
She's saying government sponsored mass shooting. 59 people or 59 people shot, including the shooter in Las Vegas.
Damn.
Okay, this documentary, this lady uncovers it all. The bad timeline, the fact that media outlets have been ordered not to ask questions because there's so many damn holes in the story.
What's it
And
called again?
Highway 91, I believe. But man, she goes through it. What happened to the Filipino girlfriend? Right? She said, watch the surveillance tapes. She said they basically carry his guns up to his room for him. She's like, he unlocked a window, fired, and she goes, and did you know? And this was what caught my ear, right, on Highway 91. She says, and this guy apparently has the only bump stock in history to never jam. She's like, she's like, he has, I mean, everything goes right for this guy. He's able to open the window and not set off the alarm. And then
Yeah.
she said, not only open it and shoot, she goes, open it, shoot, shut it, go to the other window, open it, continue shooting. She said, so I mean, this guy, she said, and what she thinks what happened is that they were running an op to ban guns. Because she says, and I did not know this, she said there were 2 bills for guns that Paul Ryan pulled the very next day after the shooting. One was for universal concealed carry. So if you get concealed carry in Pennsylvania, it is good anywhere.
Mhm.
And the other one was for ammunition or something. He pulled both of those bills. No one even asked. No one even knew they were up. No one called for them. He just pulled them.
Huh.
And a whole bunch of stuff started happening once that shooting happened. And then no one can answer the question. No one knows the motive yet. They're like, so we're supposed to believe this multi-million-dollar gambler lost a couple mil on a video poker and then just went to town, and
Yeah.
and they say there was guns, and then she played the radio clip, right? The
Mm.
radio clip of gunshots at Caesar's Palace being called over the Vegas police radio, and it sounds like a machine gun. It does, right? It's like it's burst fire, right? I'm saying machine gun because they said machine gun. I meant to say M4. It sounds like an M4. Anyway, it's got the burst, right? Um, and it's coming over the radio. Gunshots fired. Gunshots fired. They're talking about it. They're talking about it. And she says, just remember, guys, this is after the Vegas shooter's dead.
What
He's
I
already been
heard,
dead for 20 minutes.
what
She said it. Forgot all about that. All about that.
what I heard that it actually was a machine gun,
Maybe, but
regardless of what they said he had.
it may be. Point being is she, they're all of it, it is going crazy on the Vegas radio
Mhm.
and at Caesar's Palace. And she said, just she's like, just for context, guys, don't forget the Vegas shooter's dead already.
And
Timeline wise, he's dead already.
much like, the Kennedy assassination,
She said, "Where's the
there
security guard? They bought him a new condo. He's never been heard from. Where
there's
is he?"
they're speculating that there were actually 2 shooters.
She said there absolutely was multiple shooters. Multiple. She says multiple,
I
not
believe
2,
it.
multiple, and that they're covering it up, and it was a ploy to revoke gun rights. And she said she thinks the security guard walked in on it. You leave a door open for long, it sets an alarm. They have to go down. He went down. He opened it up, saw all the crap, and started the security measures. But had they had shut that door, she said that's what triggered everything was this door.
Hmm.
She said had that door never been left open, he would have never been stumbled upon, and the carnage would have been severe. She goes, but she also thinks they wouldn't have killed him either. She thinks that once they stumbled upon him, they made him the goat and killed him. Like he's a she said he's clearly a CIA. He's clearly a government employee when you look at his what he does. Like you look at everything, like he's a government employee. She's like, they think he just took the hit. You got to watch it. Highway 91. Make your own decisions.
I am definitely gonna watch it. I heard a different angle, though. I heard an angle that there was a Saudi prince in town, in the hotel, and it was a assassination attempt on him.
Could be. Why not both?
Yeah.
Why not both? Let's get him, and we'll put a couple of civilians in and say we need to take away the guns.
And the shooting was the distraction, but it was foiled. So who knows, man? We'll never know.
And I think that's one thing you have to understand, as you cruise through this life. I mean, I'm huge into the aliens. I love it, but you know what? I've also come to the conclusion they're not going to tell me.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a press conference tomorrow. In my lifetime, no one's having a press conference saying,
Guess
Roswell
what?
happened. Yeah, right. It's just not going to happen, man. It's not in anybody's best interest. Some things you're never going to get the answer to. I harken back to the time I talked to one of the officials in the IG office over, the guy I hate, right? Former McPawn Russell Smith.
Mhm.
I tried to get his records as to, I tried to FOIA his investigation as to why he left early, and the answer you get is, he's too high ranking. And that documents such as that could potentially be used to damage the Navy, right? Because they're too high ranking. So they never give it to you, but the guard told me. I read them. Utter complete scumbag.
Bear wants to know highlight or highway 91.
Highlight 91 could be highway or highlight. I have to look. I have the link. I saved it, but let me look.
Yeah,
Why don't I look?
why don't you look, and then you can put that link in the chat room. That way everybody can watch it and form their own conclusions. But yeah, going back to the other documentary, the one on coronavirus, when I do watch it, I can probably guarantee you right now that anything that's revealed in there would not surprise me, and it's probably nothing that we haven't talked about before on this show and in the past. Yeah, cool story.
I stayed mute while I was looking it up because I didn't know if I'd accidentally hit something. I can't find. I thought I bookmarked it, but I don't know how Twitter works.
Oh, well, shit.
But I do know where to find it. It'll just take some time, but I don't want to waste time on the show. I mean, I'll find it at some other point. But yeah, it was that you know who profiled it this week. If you're looking at podcasts, the Pat Gray Unleashed show profiled it this week and spoke to her for almost it was over an hour.
Oh, wow.
And they were asking her all about it, and she was going all into detail. But she gets a little excited and she thinks, 9/11 was an inside job and all that. So she gets out there
Uh,
on all of the stuff. So,
well, that could
but
be fun. Maybe we should reach out.
we should. But her work on the Highway 911, like when you talk to her and when they were talking
Wait a
to her,
minute. Is it Highway 911, 91? What do you're like throwing out all these different damn names.
I'm talking, I'm just hold on.
What the hell, man? I swear to Christ. What are we gonna do with this dude, Bear? I know what he's gonna be doing for the next 10 days.
Tell Bear to shut his mouth.
So, yeah, I'm looking God, I'm looking super forward to next
I
week.
got it. You guys are gonna kill me. It's neither of those.
What is it?
It's Route 91.
Route Right.
Well, let me see. Let me see. Let me make sure. Hold on. I don't know.
Jeez, can't take you nowheres.
I know, right? All this stuff takes forever, and I don't know how to do it real quick. We need a producer,
Right? Well, I guess we
right?
need to plan a little bit better too.
Here we go. Now I got it. All right. Las Vegas shooter, yeah, with 58 killed and over 850 injured, right? Deadliest shooting. Route 91, uncovering the cover up of the Las Vegas mass shooting. Mindy Robinson.
And it's on YouTube.
Mindy Robinson. Yep, Route 91.
I'll be watching that
Yep.
after the show tonight. Bear, speaking of IDCs, I just realized, man, that I went to IDC school 25 years ago.
Oh man. They were still handing out ACPs back then. They didn't
God,
realize they
that's
were
crazy, man.
popping old dudes' hearts,
Isn't that crazy?
right?
25 years ago, man.
That's where'd you go in Portsmouth, you old man?
No, I went to San Diego.
Did you go to San Diego? I went to San Diego
Yeah,
too.
but that's like what we were talking about earlier with the time, man. To me, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but
Yeah. Yeah, you say 10 years ago, and I think that was 1980.
yeah.
Like if you tell me 10 years ago, that was 88, 89, maybe 92, 10 years ago. Right? Right?
Yeah, Bear says I did my tests on microfiche.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, do you remember going to the library and having to use that though?
Oh,
I had to
yeah.
use that for book reports.
Oh,
For you
yeah.
guys that don't know the microfilm, I'll tell you what though, it was pretty cool, man, because you could like go around and it was neat. It was, it was technology, it was cool.
Yeah.
But you can see all the old like weird stuff they'd have in the newspapers and stuff.
It made horrible copies, but it was cool to use the thing.
Do you remember our record was on microfiche? I might
Yeah.
have mine.
I still do have mine.
I remember
I
my
have
first duty station. I found the Navy-wide locator on microfiche just sitting out. I was like, "Hey, what's this?" It's got like a bunch of numbers and names. And this dude's like, thank you." I'll be taking this up top, man. It was in Yokosuka at that front desk. At that front desk in Yokosuka, it was just sitting out.
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
that's a
like,
great place
"Hey,
for it.
what's this?" They're like, "Oh, somebody
Whoops.
from Op Man must have left that here. I'll take it."
Yeah, God, I have a copy on microfiche. I have a CD.
That was in your chief's instruction packet. Make sure
Yeah.
you send a copy of your microfiche.
Yeah.
Or request a copy of your microfiche to verify all records are up to date prior to. Remember, you say that.
Yeah.
The nav
Speaking
admin
of
would come
chief,
out.
I
The,
made chief 21 years ago.
yeah. The nav. Did you
Golly,
send in a copy of your microfiche?
I'm sure I must have.
Yeah.
I don't really remember, man.
I think they said you request it and then submit whatever's not in it.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what's funny is I had this hey Roy, what's up, buddy?
Oh, I can't see. I gotta see that.
So I was getting ready to leave Hawaii. I was getting ready to transfer. And I had this chief. I was the regimental IDC for 3rd Marines.
Okay.
And he was the admin chief.
You're in hot
And
dogs and sodas.
yeah. So we had a regimental hike. Actually, we had 2 companies in regiment hiking, and then there was I think it was 3 that was doing the hike. So I got with the regimental
Crap.
surgeon. We got the providers together. We had a plan, and I was to stay back. The regimental surgeon was a captain, a Navy captain. Um, he's like, I want you staying back here to handle the incoming, blah, 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 blah. Okay, roger that. So I went and told the chief about it. He's like, no, you're going on the hike. I'm like, no, I'm not, you know? And we kind of went back and forth. Next day of the hike, I show up, 3:30 in the morning. I'm in our uniform of the day was PT shorts and t-shirt. And I show up and he's like, where's your gear? I'm like, I told you, Chief, I am not doing the hike. I'm doing, I'm providing coverage. So when your fat ass falls out, I'll be here to take care of you.
Right.
And so he starts yelling at me. He goes, you will do what I tell you. Don't walk away from me. And he comes up and he grabs me. I said, first off, if you ever touch me again, I will fuck you up. He says, is that a threat? I said, you're goddamn right it is. I said, let me explain something to you, Chief. I said, right now I have positional authority over you, regardless of what your rank is. I'm the provider. You don't like it? Take it up with the fucking captain.
Yeah.
So, long story longer, they get back, the hike's done, and he comes in there and he tries to counsel me. He's got a counseling sheet for me. And I took it. I said, I just laughed. I fucking actually wadded it up and I threw it in the trash. I said, this is fucking bullshit and you know it. And he says, well, you're fired. You're not, because I was the LPO and the regimental IDCs. You're fired. Blah, blah. I'm like, oh, cool. Okay. Are we
It's not the
done?
hot take you think it is.
Right. So I went back to my office and regimental surgeon came in. He's like, hey, H1, ain't you? Blah, blah, blah. I said, I'm sorry, Cam. I can't do that anymore. Because what do you mean? He says, I was fired from my position. He said, what? By who? And for what? And I told him the story. He's like, okay. I come back or he leaves. So I'm in a separate building. They had a blockhouse where the chief was at, and then I was in the medical section of it. And our captain, man, he was so laid back. He would surf at lunch, man. I mean, he was just a laid back dude. I'd never heard him raise his voice, but I could hear him from the blockhouse in my office, just brazen hell. I shit you not. 5 minutes later, the chief comes in. He's got his head down. And he's like, HM1, you're not fired from your position, and I apologize. Like, okay, I accept your apology, Chief. Well, then he's walking and he says something on his breath. Said, what the fuck did you say? Because I had no respect for this guy.
Yeah.
None. And he's like, he said, I said you'll never fucking make chief as long as I'm in the Navy. I made chief that year. And guess who fucking called me?
Did you get his signature?
No, but he called me. I was at NUMI at the schoolhouse, Naval
Yeah.
Undersea Medical Institute. He calls me. He's like, oh, hey, Andy, it's Steve. And, I just want to say congratulations, blah, blah, blah. I said, hey, Steve. I said, you remember when you told me I'd never make chief? He said, well, I said, go fuck yourself. Well, this guy's ego was so big, he called the CMC and told him that I told him to go fuck himself and hung up on him. CMC calls me in the office. He says, is this true? I said, goddamn right it is. And I told him the whole story. He goes, oh, fuck that guy. If he
Yeah.
ever calls back, I'll handle it. I said, well, I appreciate it, Master Chief, but I'm sure I can handle that turd.
Yeah.
But
People are like that, man.
it's so wild, man. And you know what? I told that story for a reason, and I don't remember what the reason is now.
Right? It
Yeah.
always gets to be deep into the show. We get down so many rabbit holes.
Right.
The memory of what the initial topic was has long disappeared.
Anyway, hey Roy, doing good, man. Day by day. I'm not trying to catch your record of heart attacks. Trust me. Trying to, even keel it, and yeah, things are good, man. How are you doing? So, yeah, that guy just wow. And the reason so I got to back up a little bit. Before he came over to regiment, he was 2-3's chief, and my roommate was 2-3's IDC at the time. And this guy was just such a horrible leader, man. And I would listen to my roommate come back every day, just pulling his freaking hair out because of the dumb shit that this guy would do. and made the whole battalion aid station look horrible, man, you know, just from the decision. So I spent, I don't know, 8 probably the better part of, yeah, 2 years, because I didn't go over to regiment until, like, my last couple months. But, yeah, so I already knew how this guy operated, and there was no way I was putting up with that shit.
Dude, my last deployment in 171, I always loved Korea, right?
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go to I'm slated to go to IDC school. I said I'll go to Korea one more time. I love it. It's easy.
Korea.
So I do Korea every year because I love it. Again, like I said.
Was it Cobra Gold? Or
No,
no,
no, I hate Cobra Gold. I hate Thailand. I can't. I'm not a fan of the heat. I'm a fan of
Full
the
Eagle.
cold.
Is that what it was?
Full Eagle.
Yeah.
So I like the cold weather. It's cold, so it's easy for me. And I know the culture well. So I bought 3 Playboys. My wife's like, "The hell are you doing with the 3 of the same magazine?" I'm like, grass and these are not for me. I have a good imagination. I don't need the paper." Right? Anyway, moving along. So, I would go to Korea and I would trade the Playboys because full pornography is illegal in most Asian countries. So I would
Yeah.
I would trade the Playboys for access to showers or like coffee in the morning, right? So, it's just what a seasoned person knows what to do. So, anyway, before we go, you talk about frustration. I was a second class, and there was another second class. He was a great guy, but he was just wrong on this. And I told the younger corpsman, label the sides of the AMOL can. So these AMOL cans are like a rectangle. I told them label the lengthways side.
The
That's what I
ammo
need.
cans are supply cans.
Right, they're supply cans. I said label what's in them on the side. So they were doing that. I left. I came back. They were labeling the ends. I said, "What the fuck? What the fuck are you doing?" And they said, "Well, that guy came in behind me and said label the ends." And I said, I said, "Okay, okay, listen. I said, let me tell you something. How many times has he been to Korea?" And they're like, "None." I was like, "Okay, how many times have I been to Korea?" They're like, "3." I was like, "Okay, label the sides, and we'll be good." All right. I leave. I come back a second time, and they're doing the ends again because he came back. And
You
then I
should have hit
kind of
caught in the middle.
lost it, right? I kind of lost it a little bit. And I was like,
"Hey,
"What the?"
what's up, Ed?"
I was like, "What the F," right? I was like, "You need to label the sides. I'm gonna build a wall with these things, and I need to know what's on the side." And he said, "Well, he keeps saying label the ends because that's how they get stacked in the quad con." And I said, "I don't give a fuck about a quad con because they're stacked. Nobody cares what's in the quad con. Nobody cares when it's in a quad con. Okay, a quad con is basically a box for a box.
Right.
We're not going to do anything in the quad con." Senior chief, I remember my first deployment, thought he would sleep in it until he almost froze his nuts off because there's no power in it.
That'll learn you.
I remember him. Senior Chief Kagarian. "Get everything out. I'm taking this as my room." The next day, put everything back in.
That's hilarious.
That is cold.
Was he Filipino?
Yes, and he was a professional hazer. He used to say, "H anybody, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. This is what I want you to do. I want you to wake up every morning and get breakfast for everyone." So that he could have his breakfast brought to him. He was a pro hazer. I learned so much from him. Yeah, I love that guy. Anyway, long
I had a
story.
Filipino chief like that in Okinawa, but I'll
Right?
tell that story later.
Oh man, I'll give you one more. We had an HM1 whose brother was a master chief, and we were in Japan, and the brother was his master chief brother was in San Diego. he used to tell him, "George, I want you to stay late tonight. Call San Diego, tell them you are a Master Chief Kapati, and have them send it over immediately." He said, "I will leave." He said, "I will give you the number." I expected hidden. He used to tell him all the time. He'd be like, "George, come here, come here." Then he'd be like, "Oh, George, want me to put on some coffee?" "I want you to call. I want you to stay late tonight. And Carlos San Diego.
I used to fuck around with my chief, man. Macapinlock was his name. I'd
Mhm.
fucking grab his hand, I'd kiss his ring.
Yeah. It's good you know, good people. You
Oh,
have to
that
be
fucker
there
took
to
care of me, man.
you have to be there to know. Oh, and Kagarian took care of me, and I think that's what pissed Carl off.
Ah,
Um, but anyway, anyway, long story longer. I forget where were we going with all of this. See, we went down another rabbit
oh, I
hole,
don't know,
and now
man.
I forgot the destination of where we were going with all of this nonsense.
Albuquerque.
Um, but anyway,
Shit, I really don't
oh no,
remember.
you know what? No, I was talking about Korea deploying and trading magazines for
Right.
access to coffee and various other things. What was I telling that story for?
Beats the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Speaking of that though, uh,
Oh,
whenever
email cans. Now I remember. Okay.
okay, uh, um, whenever we would fly somewhere, I'd always bring a hammock and a fucking 12-pack of beer, and I'd give it to the crew chief, and he'd let me put my hammock up anywhere I wanted, and
Yeah.
I slept comfortably.
That's what I say. They take care. They take care. So I was saying about the AMOL cans. So anyway, so he keeps telling them they keep labeling the ends, right? So I tell them one last time, label the sides. So I go advance party. I open up the quad con. It's all labeled on the ends because he came back down again. So what I did, Andy, and you'll appreciate this. And I told the chief at the time, I said, "Hey, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna welcome everybody here when they get here because we set everything up,
Mhm.
and I did it for him. I did it all,
Are you
and
advanced party?
yeah, and I did everything for him. I did it all. I worked really hard for him, and he took care of me. But I wanted him to, I wanted the chief because he replaced Carl midway. I wanted him to just have an easy time, right? So I just did everything for him, set everything up, had it all taken care of, and I built the wall that I said I was going to build with the AMOL can. So I welcomed all the people, right? The rest of medical, and I was given the little tour of the aid station that we built and the wall of AMOL cans. And I said, "Hey guys, I'm just kind of short some 4x4s, which I was on purpose."
Mhm.
I said, "Could you get him down for could you find him for me in this wall?" And so they're like taking each block down because they can't read because I built a wall like I said I was going to build. And it's not labeled on the side. So after about the third can that they take down, I was like, "Hey, what's taking so long?" And they're like, "Well, I don't know where the stuff is." I was like, "Is that because you labeled the ends and not the sides, like I said?" And he was like, "Well, yeah." And then I didn't let him finish. I flipped out. I kicked the wall over. I was like, "You're fucking right. You're fucking right. How the guys are lying?" And then the cans went everywhere. Chief, Chief left.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I gotta
Well,
go to the
he knew.
bus. Yeah.
He knew. I told him. I told him I'm going to lose my shit and I'm probably going to kick the thing over. And he was like, "Well, just don't break anything. You know what I mean. Make sure there's no." You know what I mean? Like for
Right.
those of you troops that are going in, a lot of the theater is exactly that. It's freaking theater.
Mhm.
Okay. But it drives home a point, and that set the tone for the rest of the deployment. We didn't have a problem with my orders after that.
Yeah, I bet not. Did I ever tell you about the time I threw a wall locker at a kid?
No, I'm all ears.
So, yeah, this is when I was back in 1-3, the second time in 1-3, and our chief was a really cool dude, but he was not the disciplinarian. He did not like conflict, so that got fucking adjudicated to me. So we had this kid that they found him drunk on duty, and so we're in there and I'm letting the chief talk and everything, and I'm not gonna say his name. I still remember him, but he was dumb as a brick, right? It's like I think he barely I don't know, man, barely made the cutoff, right? Um, and I can accept that if you're a hard worker, but he'd fuck more shit up than he would do
Sure.
correct. So he said something smart to the chief. I don't remember what it was. Very disrespectful. I just snapped. I lost my shit. There was a wall locker, Chief's wall locker right next to me. I grabbed it and I threw it at him, and he's like, "Ah!" Screamed like a bitch, And at that point, I had to fucking leave the room because I was laughing so hard at
Yes.
him squealing like a bitch.
Yes. Yes. let me I'll tell you one more before we get to and then we have to get to our veterans helping
You
veterans.
you
We
do,
gotta wrap
yes.
it up, right? I'll give you one
Yes.
quick. I've told you this before, but for anybody who's listening, right? So if you go to Camp Fuji's where 3 Meth can fire all the big guns, right? Ed
Yep.
Wargo knows all this. So I see him on there. What's
I've
up,
been
Ed?
I've been to Fuji many times.
So you can fire all the big shells at which I used to look at the staff sergeant like this is how I would gauge the marine intelligence of the safety officer. I'd be like, I always wondered if it was a wise idea to lob large caliber shells into a live volcano, and then I'd look for their reaction. I'd look for their reaction, and that's how I'd gauge like if we're gonna have a good time or not. Anyway, long story longer, it's open bay berthing in Fuji, right? It's all open bay unless you're a staff NCO. I was not a staff NCO when I was there. I had to go to open bay berthing. But there's 2 rooms in the middle that E5s could have, right? Well, the way
Right.
our unit structured it.
Right.
So quick side story. We were in the meeting and I was the senior E5 with the Marines, and they hate that when you're the senior, right? When you're I
Oh
said, I'm getting
god,
a room,
yes,
and they
they
were like,
do.
we'll see about that, Doc. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I go to the gym every day. Do you? So when I got there, my name was on one of the rooms. But not that I'm some badass, but I just was, when you're a corpsman with the Marines, you have to make it clear, hey, we'll
Oh,
fight for
yeah.
this. We'll fight for this. So I made it clear, I'm going to fight for this. And when I got there, my name was with everyone else, and I had a room. So that was awesome. But previously, I was in open bay with everyone else. So I go to open bay when I was in E4, and the sergeant's there, and we were racking together, right, bunk racks, and we shared the wall locker. So he has his half of the wall locker. I'd wake up, he'd be yelling at it. He'd be talking to his clothes. Like, hey, you better goddamn fold yourself. You understand? I'm gonna take a shower. You better goddamn. He was pretty good. He was pretty funny. So we were cracking up. Like, you got about 7.6 seconds to tie yourselves. You understand? Good to go, right? And then he would go shower, and he'd come back and he'd be like, "Oh, you don't want to listen? All right, good to go. We'll fucking PT tomorrow." And so then he would like fold his stuff, and he would do this like he did this for like a couple times, right? And then I asked him one time, I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh man," he's like, "These fucking kids, they don't understand." He's like, when I was young, my staff sergeant would talk to his wall locker, when we would come to Fuji, and if we didn't fold his shit when he came back, it was PT hell. And we just figured it out one day when one guy said as a joke, "Let's fold it." And then we didn't have PT. And so we tried it again. He's like, and I guess that was his way of ordering us to, fold his clothes without turning and ordering us to fold his clothes, right? He's like, but these kids, they
Right.
don't know. These kids suck, right? They don't know anything. They don't pick up on hints. So I was like, no, you just don't do it right. So I look at my bed and I'm like, I'm gonna go shower right now. You're gonna be goddamn made by the time I get back. You understand, right? I'm talking to my bed. I'm like, you're gonna be 45. You're gonna be. Don't look at me like that, pillow, right? I'm just being ridiculous. And I fucking leave. I shower. I come back. It's gone. It's all gone. My bed is gone. The mattress is gone. Everything is gone. It's fucking empty. It's steel. Steel. I'm like, what the fuck happened, Ramirez? He's like, oh man, you can't talk to junior troops like that. He jumped out the window. I fucking look out the window. All my shit, he threw it out the window. It was all down, 3 stories down in the dirt and the grass. I had to go all the way down, get my mattress, get my sheets, come all the way back up, brush off all the dirt.
What a dick.
Oh
Funny as
man,
hell, but what a dick.
I just wonder, like, was that a 3-day setup? The discipline.
I guarantee
Or
it.
if it just came to him, like, I had to throw his shit out the window.
I guarantee it. I guarantee you had somebody do that to him at some point.
Oh, it was beautiful. I'm telling you, it was more than a day. It was absolutely more than a day that he did that to his wall locker to cause me to say something.
I loved Fuji, man. People hated it. I
Well,
liked
yeah,
it.
I mean, because they almost all died in the 70s.
Well, when I was there, and the last time I was there was 2000. I think it was '01. It was either
Yeah.
late '01. Yeah, I think it was like October of '01. We had a scrub typhus outbreak,
Oof.
and I diagnosed it. And I remember because that stuff never happens during normal working hours.
Mm.
No, they come rack you out at like 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
So, classic. And we had the freaking brief, you knew what to look for. It was pretty classic symptomology. So drew their blood, started them on doxy, sent them down to Yokosuka to the ER. And I'm on the phone with the attending the doc that night. And he's like, there's no way in hell it's scrub typhus. No way, blah, 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 blah. I said, well, I'm sending him. He goes, don't send them. I'm not accepting. I said, well, you don't have a choice now. They've been on the road for at least 20 minutes. So,
Yeah.
but it was cool, man. They did this great big old write up on it. EPMU came in. They did this published a study on it, and Pretty cool.
I do have one more Fuji story for you that I have to, and then we'll do our veterans doing veterans. But I have to say, I had a friend that worked for Yokosuka in IT,
Mhm.
civilian. He was active duty civilian. They send me to Fuji, right? Like, for the deployment. I'm on my way. I'm about to come back. They pull me off the bus. Okay,
I think I know the story.
pull me off the bus. You might. They pull me off the bus, and they're like, "You're staying here for another 30 days." That's a story entirely in itself. I was very upset,
Yes. I
but
remember that story.
the chief there says he would like Sam's. I said, "Well, I know somebody down in Yokosuka. I'll call him to come up and put Sam's in." He said, "If you could do that, that'd be great." So I call my friend. He said, "Yeah, I ain't doing shit on Saturday. We'll go out. We'll have some lunch, whatever. I'll install Sam's." I said, "Yeah." So he comes up. We get on the computer, and he's doing his thing. I'm like, "All right, I'm just gonna go take care of some other stuff, whatever, in the clinic." And I come back to him up front. He's like, "Hey, man, come here." And I go over, and he's like, "This isn't a Marine," or he goes, "This isn't a Navy server, so I don't really care." He goes, "But you ought to see this." And he goes into one of the corpsmen's profiles and opens up their cookies, and it's all gay porn.
No.
And like one, I mean, I've never seen anything like that. That was the first time I ever read the word twink. Okay, that was the first time I ever saw anything like that. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And he's like, "I'll show you." And he clicks the cookie, and he does, and it like opens. I was like, "Oh my god, you don't have to show me anymore. You don't have
Right.
to show me anymore."
But can you at least save it to a disk and give it to me later?
Can you install Google Time Machine? Anyway, so he's like, "It's a lot." He goes, "Whoever this is, if you
Mhm.
know them, you need to tell them not to." So I'm like, "Can you show me how to get to that?" And he's like, "I'll show you. It's very easy." So that was how I learned how to go find cookies, right, in your
Hmm.
computer and clear cookies. So he leaves. I call the kid over, and I'm like, "Hey, man." I'm like, so I was talking to my buddy. He put Sam's on. It's right here. Double click. You'll have to create your own pin. And, Sam's is what was the password? The password was always the same thing, wasn't it?
I don't remember,
Everybody's
man.
password on Sam's was the same because it was a system password. It was like might even been password. It was something stupid. But I was like, "Here's the password for everyone." The universal password. I was like, "Oh, and here's some gay porn." I was like, it's like jaw drops, right? I'm like, "Hey, my buddy showed me that, and this is how you delete it, and you won't get caught. It's gone now, right?" This was back in the early 2000s, 2002, right? This is 2002. So this is before all these like innovations and cell phones and all that crap really blew up, right? And
Right.
security and all that stuff. So it's believable maybe cookies was everything. So he's like, he's petrified. Then he's like, he sees that I'm there that I'm there to help him, right? And I'm like, I don't really care. I was like, but he did say, "You better be careful, man, because this Marine server will catch you," right?
Mhm.
So so he walks away, and then I'm doing something else, because I'm going to meet with my buddy. My buddy's going to do some. We're going to catch up a little bit later, right? So I'm doing something else. He comes back. He's like, HM2, and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can you show me how you did that thing on the computer over here on this one?"
Oh, shit, man.
I basically had to do it to every computer
Oh,
except the
shit.
one in the chief's office.
Oh my god. Hey, Ed asked, "Do you remember the HM3 looking at hentai porn?" And he said it was cartoons at work in Yoko. I don't remember that.
What was that? Was that I vaguely remember. I vaguely remember.
I
Oh
remember
man, because you had your guy who looked at porn, your ER.
big bigbblacktitties.com.
Yes, yes. And then we had a couple others that did it too as well. I mean, bottom line is, when you're on these computers, you're ridiculous. You
Oh.
can't be doing these things, man.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that now, Ed. He was in PT.
Oh, maybe. Hey, do you remember when the guy got in trouble for Ed? You might not have been in there. Or no, maybe you were in there. I think you might have been in there when the guy got in trouble for visiting a house of ill repute, and he said he accidentally went up there. I was like, "No, I know exactly where that is. You don't accidentally go up there."
Yeah, yeah,
The
that's
Master
him,
Chief's like
man.
looking at me. I was like, "What? I was here in the '90s." I was like, these things are the same. Nothing changes. I was like,
Right. How do you think I know where to go back to?
I was like, I know
Wait, what?
exactly where that place is. This isn't my first rodeo. You don't accidentally go up there. It's a spiral staircase. You have to go around back. You gotta get.
Right.
You have to have a tattoo on your right arm.
The accident's when you fall down the stairs leaving. That's the
Yeah,
accident.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you gotta show them. You gotta show them your ultraviolet tattoo to get. Like here, let me see. I know where yours is. Come here. But no, I mean, I just it's so funny. Like these kids think they're so slick and so new, and you're like,
Right.
I threw up over there
Exactly.
too, buddy. That's why I
Yeah.
know. That's why I know. And
Yeah, that was,
Yokosuka's the place where they have the sign. They had it anyway up by the cemetery. If you were to walk back by New Yokosuka Hotel, cut right up that hill, there's a cemetery up there. I used to have a picture of it digitally. Obviously, I'm a fool because I don't have it anymore. But it did used to say no dogs, no sailors.
yeah, I do remember that from I think I saw that my first deployment there. But,
Yeah.
Ed, yeah, that dude, I worked with him and he was like, it wasn't like an accident. That dude was knee deep in it and all kinds of weird shit too,
Right.
you
Right.
know? And then when the best part's when he had to explain to or tell the XO one of the websites he was looking at,
Ah,
bigbblacktitties.com. Anyway, golly, yeah, I don't know how.
how do we
Anyway,
win wars?
I
Well, we
don't know
don't. We keep
how.
leaving early.
I don't know how his wife stayed with him, man.
She
Wow.
was mad.
Oh God. Hell yeah. Anyway, it's that time for our Veterans Helping Veterans segment. And since this is going to be our last podcast for the next couple of weeks, because we're going to Wounded Warrior Umpire Academy. And since we're going to Wounded Warrior Umpire Academy, that's the organization we're going to highlight. So Wounded Warrior Umpire Academy. It's a nonprofit organization. What we do is we take veterans in and we use the guys, if you will, of baseball as a conduit, really, to bring the veterans in and give them that sense of camaraderie and give them a sense of purpose, help them assimilate back into a civilian community, and actually give them a job skill. And yeah, we use the excuse of baseball, but it's so much more. Every year, this is going to be my fourth year. Going through and helping out. Every year we have at least at the minimum one person tell us that we saved their life. So it's a worthwhile cause, and it's one of the very few organizations, nonprofit organizations out there that when we get money, 98% of it goes right back to the student. So there's really all of us, all the board members, we're all volunteers. We don't get any money for doing it, but it's such an incredible organization. Um, but we're small, we're growing, and we need help. If you find it in your heart, you can donate. And what do the students get? Well, I'll tell you, they get airfare to and from the camp. They get their hotel paid for. They get all their food paid for, and they get top-notch instruction. We have major league umpires coming out. We have minor league umpires as well as our staff. We have several D1 level and above umpires on our staff. Um, they get a $1,500 worth of brand new umpire gear donated to them from umpatire.com. Uh, so
Phenomenal.
it is, and it is literally, I can tell you, it's a life-changing, uh, event. It saved my life. Um, hey, what's up, Starks? Holy smokes,
Oh
we're having a
man, haven't
damn,
seen that guy in a
Yokosuka
while.
reunion, man. Holy shit. This is
Yeah.
awesome. So, anyway, if you can find them in your heart to help them out, woundedwarriorua.org. You can find them there. And, I tell you, it's very near and dear to my heart. So I look so forward to this time of year every year. It's amazing.
Yep.
Starks, what's up, man? Holy smokes. Are you still in? What are you doing?
Texting while driving.
Right, right. Yeah.
No.
He wouldn't
Well,
do that. He'd spill his drink.
right. Before we close, just give a shout out to the Discord. We have a new listening apparatus here. We got some people listening to us on the Discord, so I'll just shout out to Machungus, whose sassy pants will end up getting him poked in the poon one day. They will
Whoa.
understand. So,
I don't understand it, but I can't say I'm not a little turned on by it, if you know what
right?
I'm
Other than
saying.
that, co comment, click like down below.
Anyway, like we said, we're gonna be gone for a couple of weeks, but we've got a couple episodes that are gonna be dropping, so, you can't get rid of us that easy, you know?
Yeah, and by all means, we have reengaged in social media, so check us out on Twitter. Nothing's off the table. We're getting really pretty active on there. And keep tuning in. We'll keep bringing you quality content.
Here's the feeling old. Starks as 11 years in now.
Holy crap! Good for you.
Jesus, I feel ancient.
Are you a Master Chief now?
Yeah, right, master he's the master chip. Starks, send me a message on Facebook, man. I'd love to catch up with you, brother.
Absolutely.
Alright, good night, everybody.
You're listening to Nothing's Off the Table with Andy and Lou, an Admiral Media production podcast. All information at the time of recording is mostly accurate. Comment below.